all of us have put in our homework to see that we have a training program for you, and we have divided it into 3 parts. Mine is on judges training program. Arjun will be taking up contest management. Ashwin will talk about the hybrid mode. And I know that all of us are worried about the hybrid mode. So maybe Ashwin's session will be awaited with a lot of eagerness. But right now you'll have to bear with me. So let me begin my session on judges training program. I'll share my screen for that. And is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am, now it is.
Thank you. So let me first of all tell you, or rather just announce, because all of you know that this year we have only these 2 contests, international speech contest and evaluation contest. But if at all there is someone who is still slightly doubtful about how many contests and which contest, this is the piece of information for you. And this is going to be the timeline, and this is going to be the hierarchy of contests. Club contests, we request you to finish by Feb, keeping enough time for your area contest, because all area contests have to be done with by the 31st of March. So you must keep at least a couple of weeks for the contestants to prepare themselves for the area, the winners rather, to prepare themselves for the area contest. So take it up in the month of Jan or Feb. It is up to you to decide. Of course, as I said, mine is JTP. So in my training program, I would be talking about voting judges, chief judge, voting judges, tie-breaking judge, timers, tally, ballot counters. But before that, every year we have this judges training program. And those of us who attended it last year might feel, I know everything. Why should I once again attend judges training program? It is necessary that we attend judges training program every year, simply because every year we have changes made to the rule book. Now you see, this was in, what I have here was in 2021, this was in 21-22, and this is now the latest rule book 22-23, which asks us to follow the hybrid mode of contest. The rule book itself is divided into 5 parts: introduction, and then the last one also is very important because it has, your facts and answers question there, additional resources. You also have tutorial videos there, so that part is also important. But today, we will be talking about the middle 3, speech contest rules, speech contest checklist, and speech contest material. Let me also say that this year, you have an additional file that you can look at, because this particular file, which says explanation of changes, actually gives you every change that has been incorporated into the rule book this particular year, beginning with small changes to major changes. So just as you would take the rule book as an important document that you must carry with you, you must also look at this rule book and be thorough, that is changes to the rule book, and be thorough with the changes also. Let me add immediately that none of us can remember all the points given in this rule book and the explanation of changes and all that. But if we have this document with us, we can always refer to the document and we can give the right piece of information to the one who has raised the query. Let us not make mistakes. Let's not hesitate to say, I can't remember or I don't know. Let me check it out and let me get back to you. Or tell them where to go for these resources and how to find the useful pieces of information on their own. So let's be very thorough with the rules. But as I've already said, we are all human beings with different levels of memory power. If our memory fails us, no problem at all, because these are all facts and figures and sometimes we may get mixed up. Let's refer to the rule book and the explanation of changes and tell people whatever they would want to know by way of clarification. Now, When it comes to the changes made, I go to that document immediately because many changes that are made should be borne in our mind when we conduct the contest. But of course, contest management will be taken up by Arjun. So when it comes to the rule book and the changes made to the rule book, I will be confining myself only to those areas which come under judging. Now, this particular slide tells you the change made, and that change made comes under the heading titled General Procedure. And then this particular point is made, and this was followed last year also. But then this has been brought into the rule book where we say that the chief judge will have to collect all the ballots and the contest chair will have to hold the contest till the ballots have been collected, because if the contest toastmaster, actually it is now referred to, or contest chair proceeds with the contest, when the ballot has not yet been collected, it means that judges are still thinking about their judgment and there will be a lot of distraction and the judgment may go haywire. That is why, unlike the previous time when we said 2 minutes silence at the end of the contest, now we say that the chief judge has to send the intimation to the contest chair that the ballots have been collected and it is all right for the contest to proceed. So when you conduct contests at various levels, even at the club level, please follow the procedure so that you get used to this particular procedure even at higher levels. Now, I have given this again because here it can be slightly confusing for you when you go to the rule book. That is why I thought of mentioning it here. The first 2 points refer to what the chief judge would do during the contest and at the end of the contest. Now, what I've given in red actually refers to what the chief judge would do after the contest. Because you see, once the results have been tallied, the chief judge will have to give the results to the contest chair. And we always know that the results are given in the reverse order. They are also announced in the reverse order. Now, this can be slightly confusing for the judges. So the chief judge has to make it very clear to the judges that they might have had contests where the third place winner was announced first, second, and then the first place winner. But when we go to the ballot, it is always at the top first, then second, and then third. I will come to that later. But maybe we must be aware of the fact that announcement is in the reverse order. But when we enter the prize winner's name, it is in the same order as first, second, third. But coming back to this particular point, now what I've put in red is what the chief judge has to do. After the contest is over, the chief judge has to give the results and has to give the position of all contestants, and it is given to the contest chair of the next level. Now, if it is from the club, area, division, district. Now, the question arises, what if the next level contest chair has not yet been finalized? It can happen. When you finish at the club level, it can happen that it is not yet been decided as to who is going to be the contest chair for the area level. Keep it with you carefully and pass it on when the decision is made. Now, I have a problem with this particular rule. That is why I have put it here. Now, the first point says that after the voting is over, the judges put it in the envelope and hold it up for the ballot counters to collect. It is given in the rule book. But then I wonder, what happens to the question of anonymity? Whenever the question is asked whether judges have to remain anonymous, the answer has always been in the positive, that they have to remain anonymous. Sometimes, as they say, it is difficult to hold an umbrella to the sun, sometimes it might be difficult for us to anonymize the judges. They might be known, but by and large, we must try and see that judges are anonymous. And if we try to do that, I don't know why this particular instruction is given that they hold up the envelope for the ballot counters to collect. So I feel in the training, the ballot collector, the ones who collect ballots already know who the judges are, and they should also know where the judges are positioned. And as unobtrusively as possible, they can go and collect the ballots from the judges. Now, we also have this particular rule. Announcement of contest winners is final unless the list of winners is announced incorrectly, in which case the chief judge, ballot counters or timers are permitted to immediately interrupt and to correct the error. Now, this is the rule, yes. There is no problem with this particular rule. All that I want to say here is that because it is given, unless the list of winners is announced incorrectly, one might jump to the conclusion that instead of the third prize winner, if the first prize winner is announced as the third prize winner, it's a mistake. So the reference to the list makes us get the idea that if the order is wrong, but the mistake can be of any kind, because timers would know whether a contestant has been disqualified, and if that disqualified person is announced as one of the winners, the timers can raise an objection and report it to the chief judge. Ballot counters also know whether there is a mistake. So the list does not mean only the order in which the names have been announced. List also means any possible error on the part of the contest chair or anybody, whatever, whose mistake we don't know, but mistakes can happen. And these three people can raise an objection and rectify the error. Now I come to a very important aspect of our contest, that is timing of speeches. Very often, so many contestants have felt disheartened, utterly defeated when they have been disqualified on the grounds of wrong timing. There are changes to the rule, but before that, let me tell you, first of all, be sure that although we have usually in a contest 2 timers, now that it is hybrid, we will have 4 timers. Whatever it is, the timing of the timer to be considered will be the timing of the one to whom the chief judge has given the stop watch, and only that timer's timing is to be recorded by the chief judge. So even among the timers, one particular timer has probably the onus of greater responsibility because he or she will be the main timer from whom the chief judge will be collecting the timing record. Now, again, this is also important, not also, this is important because this is a change in the rule book. Please read it carefully. Wording was added to specify that fractions of a second are not to be considered when timing speeches. Fractions of seconds are not to be considered. Now, there is an explanation of what we mean by this. So I will come to that so that it is clearer to you. This is the new clause incorporated into the aspect of time disqualification. It is given, timers must not consider fractions of a second. And an explanation is given to you here. A contestant is not qualified until their time reaches 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So your stop clock must show 4 minutes 30 seconds and not disqualified until their time reaches 7 minutes 31 seconds. Now, between 30 and 31 seconds, there would be the fractions of seconds which will not disqualify the contestant. Similarly, between 4.29 second and 4.30 second, there would be fractions of seconds, but the speaker will get qualified only when 4 minutes 30 seconds is actually shown by the. In the same manner, we have it for evaluation also, as to how the timing will be. For evaluation, of course, the first flag goes at 2 minutes. So unless the speaker evaluator speaks for 1 minute 30 seconds, he or she will not get qualified. And similarly, going above 3 minutes, so that 1 minute, 3 minute, 1 second should be completely over. No fraction is to be considered. Now, a word of caution here, although we don't have table topics this time, a word of caution, because when it comes to table topics, we say 1, 1.5, 2, and if the contestant does not speak for 1 minute, the contestant gets disqualified. But you see, when it comes to evaluation and prepared speeches, although the timer, the green flag goes up at 5 minutes for prepared speeches and 2 minutes for evaluations, to qualify, we have 1 minute, we have 30 seconds less than that. So 4 minutes, 30 seconds also would qualify the person. So timers will have to keep this particular rule in mind. Keep it in mind when you write down the timing and when you report whether it is disqualification. Now, this is how it appears, this particular rule in the, I said, changes, explanation to the changes. You may think that this rule has always been there, but there is a slight change. Earlier, when it came to timing disqualification, or it was said prior to announcing results, the contest chair must announce if time disqualifications occurred, but not name the contestants. So what was given earlier? Contest chair must announce if time disqualifications occurred, but not name the contestants. Now this time you have the change. The contest chair must announce the specific number of disqualifications that occurred. If there have been 2 disqualifications or whether there has been 1 disqualification. So the specific number of disqualification will have to be mentioned by the contest chair. So it's not exactly the same as it was earlier. Disqualifications were mentioned earlier, but it was just that the time disqualifications occurred. But now we say how many times the disqualification occurred. Now, again here, we have one more rule which comes under speech contest, speech subject and preparation. Now, this rule was there last year, and it is with regard to referencing another contestant's speech matter. So we had the rule that no contestant should have what we call callback or referencing the previous contestant's subject matter. There is a change again. This rule was introduced last year. There is a change again, and that is to clarify whether referencing refers to that particular contest or all the contests from the same platform. Let's say you have the area contest where you have evaluation contest followed by international speech contest. Now, if one of the contestants of the international speech contest refers to what was said earlier by an evaluator, that will not be the grounds for disqualification because it is given, it is just one individual contest. So prepared speech would be one individual contest. But in good faith, let me tell you that it is better to avoid referencing to any speaker, because I feel sometimes the judges might not realize that you are not referring to a contestant from that individual contest, And even if you don't get disqualified, it may bring in a kind of bias in the mind of the judge. So why take the risk? You can avoid referencing altogether. We have always known that 25% or less of the speech could be for quoted material. Now I bring your attention to this part again from the rule book, because now under D, the first point says this, that is 25% or less could be for quoting, but it also uses the word referencing another person's content. And when it comes to E, there is one more point given there. Contestants must not reference another contestant. And you may start getting slightly confused because the same word, referencing and reference, these two words are used with regard to two different rules. So let me tell you, in this part, it is mainly about quoting. In this part, it is about the contestants, as I have said, from that particular individual contest. So please don't get confused when you come to this particular part. Now I come to the eligibility criteria to be a judge. And I must say before I proceed that I remain grateful to Arjun, Shaji Janardhan and Girish Nagpal for their PPT presentations, which helped me immensely in preparing my own PPT. So thank you very much. The Trimurti for me, Trinity for me, that is Shaji, Girish and Arjun for the help. And the minute I asked Shaji, he sent me his PPT and Arjun shared with me Girish's PPT and his own PPT. So thank you very much. So eligibility criteria to be a judge. Now you see, I did not know for a long time this particular rule that we have a change as we move from the club level to the area level. For the club contest, be a paid member. But when you move on to the higher level, area, division and district contest, be a paid member for 6 months and 6 CC manual projects or 2 levels of any path. We have this particular rule. And then, of course, I think Arjun will be taking it up. All contest officials must be paid members. And for other contest officials, this is the only rule that we have. And then, of course, judges must not compete in any level. They should not take up the judge's position if they intend to compete. And the same rule holds good for all contest officials in the same contest. If they intend to take part, then they cannot be any of the contest role takers. Of course, international contests, I will not spend time on that because that is not our scenario. Now again here, I have put this up from the rule book precisely because I have a problem even this area of the rule book. And I'm drawing your attention to this so that when you go to the rule book, you don't get confused with the wordings which we have in the rule book. Because after giving the same rules that I've already mentioned to you with reference to my previous slide, here the last one says, be physically present at the contest for which you are serving. Now, since we have gone in for hybrid mode of contest, which has been advised by the Toastmasters International itself, there is no question of making this mandatory. We can't say be physically present at the contest for which you are serving. Any of the role takers can be online. They needn't always be on site. In fact, hybrid mode gives us the opportunity of having judges from all over the district. So we don't have to worry about the physical presence. So when you read this particular rule in the rule book, keep it in mind that this could be some kind of oversight or I don't know. So judges can be online, and when you have at various levels, it's easier for you because you can contact different people from different divisions, areas of District 121 or yes. Now, it's interesting to know that As I said, I will be dealing only with these people: timer, tally counters, chief judge, tiebreaker judge, and voting judges, because other role takers will be taken up by Arjun. You see that only when it comes to the tally counters and voting judges, the number changes. Because tally counters up to the division level will remain 2 and 2, but division and district, it will be 3. In the same manner, the number of judges will remain 5 and 5, and then for division and district, it will be 7. Of course, when it comes to timers now, because of the hybrid mode of contest, we need to have 2 online and 2 on site. So we can, I don't know, many people are trying to enter and I'm admitting all of them. All right. So I'm getting slightly distracted by the people who are trying to get in, but I'm happy that people are trying to get in. They will get part of my presentation. So I'm happy that I will have them. Now, since it is going to be the hybrid mode of contest, it's imperative that you also keep some backup role takers, especially judges, because if a judge loses his or her connectivity, even for one speaker, that judge cannot submit the ballot for anyone. So we'll have to be careful. We need to have a backup for all role takers, but especially the judges, and also maybe contest chair or contest Toastmaster. If we have the role of contest Toastmaster, have a backup because it is a hybrid mode. Of course, I've already referred to this. The chief judge, voting judges, and the tie-breaking judge must not be a member of any club in which a contestant is a member, and this is from the division level up to the district level. Now I come to the intangibles of judging. Till now I was with the rule book and the changes made to the rule book. Now I come to the intangibles of judging, and before I move on, I have stopped sharing my screen, and I also request the Zoom moderator to remove my spotlight, and I request as many of you as possible to come on camera. All of you, whoever can come on camera, quickly please come on camera. I can see our immediate past district director, distinguished Toastmaster Vanita, who used to always insist on the camera being switched on. She's the one who practices what she preaches. So I see her on camera. Okay, I don't see too many on camera even now. Daryl, Asha, Alex, Ashwin, Naina, Narayanan sir, Gajalakshmi, Sijil, Hitesh, Smita, Rakesh, of course, Arjun. Thank you very much. But I want a few more. A few more. Please switch on your camera quickly. Don't blame me if I overshoot time, because I'm giving you time to come on camera. Thank you, Saranya. A few more, please. Let me have at least one screen that is with people who have their camera switched on. Last call for people to come on camera. Okay, doesn't matter. Now, with the people who are here, I can't see your arms. So let me ask you to cross your arms so that I can see how you cross your arms. Please cross your arms. Even if your face is hidden, I don't mind. Please cross your arms so that I can see how you cross your arms. Okay? All right. Some of you might have your right arm over your left arm. I have my left arm over my right arm. It could be either. Nobody has told us which is the right way of crossing our arms. It could be either. Now I request you to change it. If you had your right over left, change it. Left over right. Okay. I can see some of you trying to do it and feeling uncomfortable doing it, because when you try and you go back to the same, right? And then you realize that I have asked you to change, and then you try to change, but still the feeling of uneasiness continues. Am I right or wrong? Now, why do I talk about it? I talk about it because be it the district director, be it the program quality director, be it the club growth director, everyone organizes training programs with the fond hope that people change. But many of us resist change simply because we are uncomfortable accepting changes. We resist change because we have got used to, conditioned to one way of doing things. The main intention of the training program is to show to you that there could be better ways of doing things. And my request to you is to change yourselves from whatever you have been doing till now, whether it is an attitudinal change, whether it is a change in the manner in which you conducted a program, a contest. Now is the time to change for the better. That is why I asked all of you to change, to show me how you crossed your arms. And I like this saying because, it has a lot of truth in it. If you never change your mind, why have one? Yes. If we can never change our mind, why should we have a mind at all? We needn't be thinking human beings at all. So now I come to the intangibles of judging, because unless you decide to change your attitude, no training program is going to be of any use. And I feel that all said and done, chief judge might do his or her duty, judges might do their duties, and you have every duty being taken care of. But if the judges don't change their attitude when they judge, the whole contest is going to be a failure, because a contest is to pick winners. And if we don't pick the right winners, the whole contest is a total failure. Nobody will talk about it, because apparently at the superficial level, everything had been hunky-dory, everything seemed to go smoothly. But at the deeper level, a contestant who deserved to win did not win simply because judges did not honor their commitment. Forgot RISE, that is the acronym for what Toastmasters honors as a movement. Judges violated it at the attitudinal level. And I say it very seriously, and I say it with a lot of, I must say, disappointment, if not pain, because I've seen this happening simply because judges don't change their attitude. Judges have an obligation to contestants, Toastmasters International, audience, and to their own selves, that they have to carry out their commitment. They need to be accurate, fair, trustworthy, knowledgeable, and good listeners. No multitasking. Many times judges think, okay, I'm judging, but I can also cut my beans. No. That would be multitasking of a better kind, because one is physical, one is mental, but multitasking is a myth. Even when it is mental, I may look at the pots to see that one is too mature and I don't want to use it for my cooking. So my mind gets diverted. So no multitasking once we accept the role of being a judge. Now, I'm not going to talk more about fairness, because as I have already said, please ask yourselves, have I been fair to all concerned? I have already said this is the attitudinal change that I request all of you to have. In my role as CJ, if I can impress upon you the necessity to remain objective, to remain scientific, not to be subjective in our judgment, I think my role would have been fulfilled to a very great extent. Now, these are some of the barriers to objectivity. Speaker position. What is meant by speaker position is that, now I'm also guilty of this. Sometimes I too make this mistake. When we listen to the first speaker, we have this, okay, I have 8 more speakers to judge. So let me be cautious in not giving very high great for this particular speaker because I don't know how good the others are going to be. So I'm not going to give him or her high marks. But that is the first speaker position bias. Toastmasters International Rulebook tells you very clearly, judge each contestant independently, individually, irrespective of other contestants. You have to look at the criteria of judgment, which I will be showing in a short while from now. And you will have to go by those judgments and you'll have to see that it is done clearly. Okay. Now, champion of the underdog. This also happens. So many times, Papa, he or she has contested again and again and again and again and again and again. He or she does not win. Papa, let's see that there are other judges who might give to the right winner. But let me give my first position to this winner because I feel very sympathetic or sometimes empathetic because I might be one of those who tried and tried and tried and failed. So champion for the underdog, a big mistake. And you may think of yourself as being sympathetic or empathetic. No scope for sympathy and empathy. Halo effect. Oh my God. This is the speaker. And I've heard that he or she is a terrific speaker, a champion. So I didn't like the speech that much, but maybe I'm making a mistake. This must be a good one, good speech. Maybe I'm making a mistake. I didn't like it so much, but I've heard so much about the speaker. Perhaps I'm making a mistake. That is the halo effect, reverse halo effect. All the time she's praised or he's praised and he or she is still good, better than all the other contestants. But I think he should have been still better. So the contestant is actually better than all the other contestants, but you feel that he or she should have been better because you have heard so much about that particular person. So that's the reverse halo effect. Prejudices and personal preferences is the biggest of the 5 sins. For me, that's the worst of the 5 sins. And when you know a person, it happens even more often that you know a person and you don't like that person, maybe some altercation at the club level, maybe some argument at the club level, or maybe simply, a feeling of envy that the person is too good. All these lead to prejudices and personal preferences. This is the major sin actually that we commit as judges. That is why, as I've already said, my appeal to you, I can't say personal, my appeal is always personal. My appeal to you is to rise higher and not to have any of these barriers to objectivity. Okay. So here are a few tips as to what you have to do before the contest, during the contest, and after the contest. And you may think that these are all very simple points that you have to enter the names of winners and your name and also your signature. You may feel that these are simple points, but there have been any number of instances when a judge has forgotten to enter either the name in print or signature. There have been instances where the whole ballot goes invalid. So take care that these 3 parts have to be filled. The first part is something that you will not submit in the cover. The bottom part is what you are going to submit. The top part you will keep with yourself and you will not submit it. You will destroy it as and when you want to destroy. And this is what I meant by saying you have judge's name, the print version, signature, and the positioning. And again, as I said, don't make a mistake. Please remember, although the announcement is in the reverse order, when you write, it is in the same order as this: first place, second place, and third place with the points 3, 2, 1. Now, this is what we have by way of weightage: content 50%, delivery 30%, language 20%. And each of these is further explained as to what we mean by development, structure, organization, support material, effectiveness, achievement of purpose, interest, reception, value, speech value, ideas, logic, original thought. And of course, delivery will take care of the the first two V's at least: physical appearance, voice, manner, and the vocal variety, everything will come here. And then we have language 20%. That is why, please remember, even those who are, language aficionados, please remember that we have only 20% importance for language. So even if the language of a contestant is not up to the standard that you want the contestant to have, please don't get biased, because language has only 20% of the total marks, appropriateness and correctness of language. Now, this is the tiebreakers ballot, because the tiebreaker judge, of course, is totally different from other judges. And the tiebreaker judge has to mark the position of each contestant. So I must say a tiebreaker judge is a greater martyr than the other judges, because the tiebreaker judges' responsibility is even more than that of other judges. So up to the last speaker, the tiebreaker judge has to put down his or her judgment. In the same manner, for evaluation, we have 4 categories: analytical quality, recommendations, technique and summation, 40, 30, 15, 15. You have had how-to series on evaluation and speech structure and all that. So I cannot go into that. Time does not permit me to do that. But just one particular observation: most of us forget the last part, that is summation. So let's take care of that. My red flag has gone up. So hybrid contest, Ashwin will be taking it up, but I just want to bring your attention to this last part where we talk about the designated area. Now, designated area, we always announce, but sometimes speakers don't keep that in mind in a very serious manner. Be very particular about it in a hybrid mode, because the camera will be placed and judges might be online. So unless you are very clear about your designated area of speaking, you might lose out on the impact factor if you go out of the camera zone even temporarily. And there are smaller changes of this kind. I bring your attention only to this to show to what extent Toastmasters International works on the document. Even to the extent of saying capitalizing was not there and capitalizing has been incorporated, and that comes into changes to the rule book. Now, I draw your attention to this to say that if Toastmasters International takes it so seriously, we have to have the sense of dedication and commitment to avoid mistakes. I won't have this. If there is time at the end, maybe you can answer this particular. I have a few questions to see where you stand in your understanding, but my red flag has gone up, so I will skip this. Now, these are all places that you can go to if you want to know the membership status. Now, this is actually a video. I will not play it, but this video explains to you how and when a tiebreaker judge's judgment comes into picture. You just ask for any of these tutorials, you will get it, because sometimes people have made terrible mistakes while considering the tiebreaker judge's ballot paper. So no mistake of that kind should be made. There are videos available. Please refer to that. With that, I won't move on to the question paper. Oh, sorry. I won't move on to the questions because we have decided to take it as a panel at the end. Thank you very much.